Hi everyone, my name is Justin Odisho, and in this video we're going to be doing a little bit of a visual breakdown of Post Malone's new music video, Rockstar, featuring 21 Savage. And in particular, I'm going to show you how to recreate a little bit of that dreamy, glowy haze that it has in Post, in Premiere Pro. So first of all, credit to the creators of this video, the director, producer, editor, all of them. They did a bloody great job. And you can check out the official video on Post Malone's YouTube channel to watch it in full. And to start off, I've got some still frames from the video, and I just kind of want to point out a few things that I noticed that might help give you insight on how they created this. And also after that, we'll go into a separate sequence and I'll show you a little bit of how you can create your own dreamy, hazy look just by using a few tricks in Premiere Pro. To begin, I want to say that I don't really think that this hazy, dreamy look was created entirely in post-production, that is. It was probably done largely in camera with maybe the help of some special lenses, attachments, or little camera hacks. I say that because if you look at shots like this, you can see that separation and that bokeh in the shot seems like it was real and not done in post-production. And you can tell, especially in shots like this with the leaves, things are stretched kind of naturally. Shots like this one, you can see the lens distortion and the circular fisheye nature that's going on. In some of the shots, you can notice that the camera has a very large shadow around the edges and it looks like it's poking out of a hole. And you can see the bokeh, or that blurry circle, is only happening on the edges, and in the center things seem to be in focus. This might be some sort of special pinhole box that they've created and placed in front of the camera, or the camera inside, or some type of special lens hood attachment that they've put on the camera. And as far as the post-production and the editing, I do think there may have been a possibility that perhaps some of that haziness was increased with a little bit of effects, or maybe like in certain shots it was given a little bit more strength or some added haziness, and it's like a radial blur was added, and also perhaps some contrast and color grading and exposure boost. But overall, it's good to note that certain things in this video, such as the lights flickering and strobing, those hazy lights in the background that are coming from the doors or entrances, were all effects that were captured on camera. But if we wanted to recreate just that overall dreamy, hazy around the edge look in an editing program like Premiere Pro, there is some cool things that we can do to get a similarly inspired look as the video. So I think that'll be fun. And I've got a single clip placed on a new sequence here. So this is not a clip full of ninjas and swords or anything like that. It's just a random clip, and you can use whatever clip you want as well. So to begin, let's highlight our layer and simply hold Alt or Option, and we can click and drag it upward to create a copy. You can also copy it, paste it, or just drag it on top of itself, whatever you have to do to stack one on top of the other. Next, on this copied layer, we want to go to Effects and search for Gaussian Blur. We can click and drag this on the layer, and it'll pop up in our Effects Control panel, and we can look down at the Gaussian blur effect that was just added there and increase the blurriness to maybe about 70, 80, 90, whatever you like for your preference. I do want to make sure I check repeat edge pixels so that it fills in the entire edge with that blurriness. Now we want to click the circle mask option under the opacity tab, and it'll create a circular mask which says to Premiere, only show this layer within this circle. Since we've stacked the same layer underneath, it kind of serves as a mask of blurriness. So what we can do is actually invert this mask. Make sure you check that, and now it'll blur everything that's outside of this mask, which gives us that edge, and increase the mask expansion and the feathering until we just have a soft, hazy, blurry, and dreamy vignette. And you can play around with the amount, but basically this will keep the center in focus and get a nice blurry vignetting, which is similar to the Rockstar video in a lot of ways. Not saying that that's how they did it, but it's a cool way to get a similarly inspired look. But we're not done yet. What we can do to additionally make it look a little bit more fisheye and realistic is search for an effect called Lens Distort, and you should find it under the Distort Video Effects folder. You can click and drag that on top of this layer as well, and set the curvature to about -5. That'll pull these edges back a little bit, not only creating a slightly more curved fisheye effect, but also a little bit of separation between the real image and the blurry displacement, which is also noticeable in the original video. Lastly, for this layer, I'm going to uncheck the animation stopwatch by opacity and just set the overall opacity to something more like 90. That way you can see the edges of the original underneath a little bit more as well. Now for some finishing touches, I'm going to make sure my project bin is highlighted, go to File, New, Adjustment Layer, and this will give us a new adjustment layer in the media bin, which we can drag onto our project and add some Lumetri color effects onto this. So let's open up the basic correction tab in the Lumetri color section, and under the tone, we can actually increase the exposure and the contrast a little bit to give it that bright, hazy, dreamy look, which should work well with that blurry vignette. And we can also actually go to the vignette tab and add a little bit of negative amounts to give this a darker edge as well, almost as if we had the camera enclosed in some sort of lens hood as well. So you can adjust the amount to be stronger or weaker, the midpoint to come in further, and also make sure the feathering is enough so that it doesn't look too abrupt. And basically you have created a nice little edge as well that is similar to that original video. Now, as far as creative color grading, the original video actually has a lot of gritty blue, almost green tones, almost has a underwater feel. And this could be a whole separate video. I'm sure whoever was responsible for the coloring on this video spent a lot of time making sure it was all right. But one thing that you can look into using are LUTs, which are under the creative look section. There's a bunch of preset film looks, some that come installed in Adobe Premiere, so you can get a more similar look. I actually have 21 of my own that I've created, and I have one called X Pro or Cross Processing number 1, which offers a very nice bluish, gritty vibe that works well when you add that little bit of exposure and contrast boost. And with any LUTs, you can increase the intensity or decrease it to get more strength. These LUTs are available on my website to purchase if you want, but if you don't want to use LUTs or purchase them, you are always free to try to create your own looks using all the powerful tools in the Lumetri color tab, such as the curves and the color wheels, which allow you to adjust the brightness and contrast of the shadows and the highlights of each color channel respectively. So you could go to the green color channel, increase the greens in the midtones, go to the blue color channel, increase the blues in the shadows, and try to make your own color grade. I do have many tutorials on how to use the curves adjustment, the basics of color grading and color correction, but I'm not going to try to go into too much extra detail breaking down the exact color that they used. I just see it as a nice contrasty cinematic film look with a lot of greenish blue underwater tones. So those are some possible options and routes that you can explore that I think actually offer a pretty similar bluish green cinematic film look. So when we put all these things together on the adjustment layer, they affect everything underneath, so not only the edges but the center, and we have our nice blurry, dreamy look that I'd say is very closely inspired by that Post Malone Rockstar video and does give off a similar fun vibe. So hopefully you learned some fun tools by recreating that, even if you don't use it to be anything close to the original video. If you guys did enjoy this breakdown, I have many more on my channel in a playlist, so make sure to check those out, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for all of my new videos. If you want to stay up to date with me, reach out, ask me any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or I highly suggest you go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.